I admittedly have no information on the topic that we're going to be talking about. It was shared with me from a friend, special girl, real good girl. Hey, biggest thing in my itty bitty world. What y'all know about that vibrant thing by Q-Tip? Anyhow, um, Richland Parish, Louisiana is, well, they've just been approved for a metadata center. A metadata center. And for those of you who don't know what these AI data centers do, you may recall the work that I did on Memphis, Tennessee, with the supercomputer called Colossus that belongs to Elon Musk, that belongs purely to Elon Musk, the South African who, for the life of us, we can't seem to get to go back to Africa and take everything that belongs to him with him. We can't get him to take these raggedy, ugly Teslas back, this Grok back, the supercomputer in Memphis, Tennessee is called Colossus. It's about the size of 2.5 football fields. Yes, you heard me. It's a computer like the one you have on your desktop, like the laptop you have, except that computer is 2.5 football fields big. Think of all the people you can fit in a stadium around a football field and then multiply it times 1.5. That's what you have. And that thing is cranking out so much pollution, so much gas, so many deadly chemicals, and it's downwind. It's upwind from the heart of a black community called Boxtown, Memphis, Tennessee. Boxtown was founded by freedmen. You heard that right. Black people who were freed from the system of American chattel slavery. Those people, once they were given their freedom and they had nothing, again, because if you're free from slavery, what did you earn as a slave besides the clothing on your back? Those people carried boxcars, unused, thrown away boxcars from train tracks, and they moved them all the way to the city and they made homes out of those boxcars. You know, the way it's trendy now to make a home out of train boxcars, or it's trendy now to make a barn dominium and all those things. They took boxcars and made shelter out of them. That's why it's called Boxtown, Mississippi, because it was founded by people who were freed and had nothing. And according to their own ingenuity and resourcefulness, they made homes out of boxcars. And if you look at the homes today, they're still similar in size. They're small homes. I mean, of course, they're brick and mortar now, but they're small homes. So I have maybe 4 videos about that you can go watch. I will try to link them here. I know there's nothing really to look at the screen. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Again, I know nothing about this. Jasmine sent me a video and I dissociated, just trauma. I dissociated for a while before I could even watch the video properly. But if you know anything about Louisiana, okay, because these are my ancestral lands go from East Texas to Florida. Okay. Oh, as far as I know, my ancestral lands are the deep South. This is where my peoples come from. They named the land exactly what it is. There's a mound, right? There's a mound that's like mounds are like pyramids, okay? There's a mound in Louisiana called Poverty Point. And you would think, why would you name something Poverty Point? But centuries ago, and even today, it's like you can't grow nothing there. And so it's all this beautiful land where what are you gonna do? Brad, what are you gonna do? If you guys like Michael Jackson, you get the Brad, what are you gonna do reference. Um, it's like, what are you gonna do? Nothing grows here. And when things do grow here, it takes more labor output to get half of what would be a yield in something, let's say Richland, okay? Richland. Louisiana. Richland Parish, Louisiana. What is that? That means the soil is rich, the land is rich, it grows. There's something called the Black Belt. And you would think the Black Belt of the Deep South is just niggas. Now, that's partially true because along the Black Belt is where you have my ancestral lands. Along the Black Belt is where you had the most people who were enslaved because it was the most fertile land. Okay, you could grow anything, anything, anything. Some places you're like, oh, well, this is really good for date palm trees. Like, oh, well, this is really good for rubber trees. Whoops, there goes another rubber tree. They're like, this is going to be a really good land for corn. But on the Black Belt, you can grow anything. You can grow cotton. You can grow indigo. You can grow, it doesn't matter because the soil is that rich. There's abundance. Here you have Richland effing Parish. And if you don't know what a parish is just like a county. It's a county. So let's say, for example, I was born in Seattle. I lived in King County, right? Martin Luther King County, right? But, a little ways away from King County, you have Pierce County, right? King County is in Seattle. Pierce County is in Tacoma. You got SeaTac, somewhere in the middle, right? These are counties. So a parish is like a county, except Louisiana was so Catholic and so French and so whatever. Instead of counties, they have parishes. In England, right? Because I just got done talking about my ancestry, and on my grandmother's side, after I get to about the 1600s, my people are all white. They have ton. So you think Bridgerton, um, well, yeah, Bridgerton, or even Washington. So ton is short for town. Okay, so Bridgerton's not really called like a person from Bridgerton. They're a bridger. The land is it's called Bridger, but because it's a town in their language, they put ton at the end. So let's say Washita. Washita is a name of a tribe that my people come from. Washita. Now, you can also pronounce that Washita. Matter of fact, I believe that that's the actual enunciation for the word Washita. But white people get a hold of stuff. I mean, still to this day, you look at Black Americans and we have names like Washita, Rashida, right? But they would come here, right? Because here's the lie you were told. They were told, Black American, you have no name. You have nothing. We gave you our names. Whole time, people like George Washington, they came here from whatever white England, whatever Europe, and they found the land of the Washita people and decided to name themselves Washington, as in now the town I am called by the land of the Washita people, Washington. Okay, Washington. But long story short, the Washita are a group that comes from the Olmec. Okay, one of the it's how do I say this? The predecessor of many Choctaw and Chickasaw are the Washita, and the predecessor of the Washita are the Olmec. And the Olmeca's civilization is the first American civilization. So you got a lot of people who call themselves First Nation, but they have no connection to Olmecs. I digress. So Richland Parish. Let me see. Okay, there's a comment here. There's a comment. Yeah, because George Washington was originally George Wessington. Zero. I love that you do this with me. I love that you do this with me because, and literally, it's so funny that it's Wessington because Wes is usually a name like Wesley, and West just means Western. Okay, so where was he going when he was called George Wessington if he was coming from England? He was going out to the West. Where's the West? The Americas. So you go from Wessington to Washington. So literally, you're talking about we don't have no last name. Maybe it's you that doesn't have a last name because you keep changing yours based on where you live. So black people, if you're called Washington, it's probably because you're a Washita Moor. It's probably because you are a Washita Aborigine. It's where you come from. You are. It's just some Aborigine stuff. Um. Anyhow, what a supercomputer does, what these metadata centers do, they pollute the land around it. They turn whatever beautiful water. Memphis is known nationally for the amazing water quality that it has. Like people have called the water of Memphis holy, even. It's been called sacred water. It turns your water into sludge. If you ever needed, I mean, a crash course in what's going on with Memphis, Tennessee, you can watch an episode of Captain Planet. It turns your great water into, hey, Auntie Mira, it turns your water into sludge. It makes it undrinkable. It turns the air into a totally different gas, one for which you cannot breathe, similar to lighter fluid, similar to that tick, 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 whatever comes out of your gas range oven when you're going tick, tick, tick. You turn that thing off and you on and you light it. So people are inhaling this. And so the people of Memphis, Tennessee are coming down with all manner of COPD, asthma, and other cardiovascular diseases. So Louisiana is next up, is what I was trying to say. And so with this page, I just wanted to look at the demographics of Louisiana. So this is where the parish is. So my people are from Cato and Bossier. Okay. Not all my people, because I have people from here as well, from the boot part of the boot. But Cato Parish and Bossier Parish, all these little lines you see, these are different parishes. So this is the parish that Meta was just approved to abuse. And it's some of the richest land. Like if you literally, I can Google Black Belt Deep South images. This is the Black Belt. All right, so here's my Choctaw. So all through here, but that doesn't tell you where you're at. So let me go here and see if that will tell you where you are. No. Okay, so you see basically from East Texas all the way up through the East Coast, right up under Pennsylvania. This is the Black Belt. What do you notice is a part of the Black Belt? You see that boot right there? This is Louisiana. This right here, this is a piece of Texas. This is East Texas. Right up in here is where Richland is. So some of the most beautiful soil you can have globally, on a global scale, they're about to turn it into sludge. They're about to turn it into poison. Here's another depiction. So you see this great big old thing is Texas, and then you get into East Texas, West Louisiana, all the way up and through here. This land is blessed. You can grow anything here. And they're about to sacrifice it for greed. Um, Now, call it peculiar or not, but the majority of Black Americans still live in the Black Belt. We still live there, the vast majority of us. Now, I'm all the way up here, but came from here. This is the Black Belt. Again, Black Belt. Now, this is the Black Belt as well as, kind of surrounding territories, but I digress. Richland, Louisiana is right here. I don't know why they've got the whole of Texas in there. They only need like half of Texas in there, like this photo has. Okay, so black belt would be, so there's an empty place in the middle of Louisiana here, and I would argue that that's where poverty point is, where you just can't grow anything. But this, and then you get here, and you go all the way up to just up under Pennsylvania. So right up under Pennsylvania is Maryland. That's where you have that black belt where you can just grow anything. It's some of the most blessed land in all the earth, in all the earth. And they're about to turn a portion of it into pollution. So, like I said, I don't know anything about this, so I'm going to, you're basically on my research journey with me. When I went to a George Washington exhibit that I had seen, he had Moors in his family. I seen the original fezzes and the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of the Cherokee. Right, right. And that's where he got those names from. That's where he would have gotten the names from. This is some can I be down type. This is my first time hearing about the black belts. I was checking to see if I live in the black belt and I live above it. It's very sacred land because you can't do that all over the earth. You can't do that everywhere. There are some places where you can't grow nothing but rice, right? The weather, around where you are. I'm like, okay, we're in such and such Japan, and it's always raining. There's always some kind of, it's hot, it's humid, it's raining all the time, and then there's some kind of tsunami. What can we grow here? Well, the soil is waterlogged, so you can't grow this, you can't grow that. Because I mean, I have some snake plants here in my apartment, and you can't waterlog them. You have to have a specific kind of well draining soil, because although they need water, you can't just drown them. They'll die. They do better. They almost do better with neglect than with nourishment. You ever had somebody overwater a plant until it dies? You over nurture a plant. That's how women kill plants. Women kill plants by over nurturing them, and men tend to kill their plants by neglecting them. This is a male friendly plant because you can neglect this plant. You cannot water it for a month, and it's all right. It's all right. You want to water it once a week, but if you only water it once a month, it's all right. It's fit for neglect. Dry soil over wet soil. So, what I'm trying to say is these conditions exist all over Earth where we can only grow cassava here. For 44 miles, all we can grow is cassava because the land isn't fit to produce anything else. For acres and acres, we can grow as many peppers as we want to, but this land is only good for peppers, legumes, and squash. It won't grow anything else. Tomatoes are very special because they will grow anywhere. That's how you got tomatoes out of Mesoamerica and all over the world. These people, all manner of Italians and Arabs who act like tomatoes are their life, and tomatoes are their life. Their lands did not grow a single tomato until somebody brought them over from Mesoamerica. Never seen a tomato in their lives. But because a tomato is fit to grow in most places, it's just that kind of crop, a base crop that people need. So you can grow anything here. Let me pull up the vote. So I'm going to go to TikTok now. And that actually happens a lot with America. I know I mentioned cassava earlier. You'll notice that a lot of West Africans they eat cassava, right? Cassava leaves in specific, but cassava is native to the Americas. It is not native to Africa. So just like they said, Africans brought okra over here, which as far as I know is true. If you're talking about that triangular trade, that's true. But many crops were brought from the Americas over to West Africa. Things they just did not grow, never heard of, were brought from America because remember we have the black belt. We're growing everything. So many foods. A lot of these places, I mean, even the Arabs in the Middle East, these people barely had any food. They had dates and goats. That's why you get a lot of goat herders and a lot of nomads who walk around with their animals. They just weren't growing a lot of food. But you got a lot of people in these food and spice trades and whatever trades, they got a lot of things from North America. So these indigenous cultures were very influential. Let's see. This is the Claiborne Temple fire. This is in Memphis, Tennessee. And this is the church where Dr. Martin Luther King gave his I Am a Man speech. This was the hub of civil rights. This is where Dr. Martin Luther King filmed many of his interviews. This is where he said, I fear I may have, that's going to break my heart. He said, he was pro integration. And just before he died, he was not. And he said, I fear I have integrated my people into a burning house. And what sucks about saying that is that it's on fire in the pictures. So by the end of his life, he was not for integration. Towards the end of his life, he was very much on the same page as Malcolm X, and that's why they had to get rid of him. Bless him. Um, we're not looking for this, but the point is, this happened shortly after protests against Colossus in Memphis, Tennessee. Protests against Elon Musk putting that thing there because they did not get the approval of the people. They got the approval of some kind of sellout mayor or governmental official, but like the people did not even know. The people were furious at their town hall. They're like, you didn't even give us a choice. We're out here sick. Our kids are sick. Our elderly are sick. We're getting things that we didn't have before. Mama got asthma. Auntie got asthma. Kid got asthma. Like, it's like we are not an asthmatic family. Y'all are choking us. We're choking on the air. That is, that like make it stop. And it's like, sorry, we can't. And the only option is war. And who's going to do that? The only option is to tear apart Grok with your hands. And so I wanted to talk about Louisiana because it's not there yet. It was approved 2 days ago. So I'm going to go Louisiana approved meta.
All right, so roll call vote, I believe we have a no vote for Mr. Lewis, is that right?
Yes, sir, I vote no.
Okay, Mr. Kazan,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell, Mr. Scavetta.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, it's 4-1, so,
Mr. Chairman.
pardon?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, move for 15 minutes.
All right, move for 15 minutes, and that's approved.
Sold Louisiana out! Sold us out! James, this is why everyone on millennial and Gen Z from here is moving away from the state. So protect us.
Just laughing. They don't care. Laughing, laughing, laughing. I don't understand what's funny. Here's the deal. If you look at the voters, there was only one no, and it was a young black man. And that's why on the thumbnail of my video, you see me put a little halo around his head, and I've got devil horns on the rest of these people because of how they voted. Now, you look at everybody who voted yes, what are they? Old, white, and ready to die. Big E Smalls, old, white, and ready to die. You got a good 10, 15 years left on this earth if you are lucky. If you can kidnap some black boy and harvest his heart and lungs and the rest of his organs rolled up in a gym mat, ruled a suicide. If you got a decade or two left to live, you are on your way out of here. You ain't got but 20 more good years in you, if that. So they don't mind. This is why you can't have people this old in office. Call me ageist. I'm really not. I'm really not ageist. But call me ageist if you want to. These are people who are like, well, how is it going to affect me? Because you're already on your way out. You were on the hotline express to a urn near you, to a crematorium near you. So you don't give a damn. But somebody who has to sit around and breathe this air does give a damn. And that's why that woman got up and said, "You sold us out." And this is why Gen Z is moving away from here, because this is only going to affect us. Now, clearly, there's a millennial up there, and the millennial is the only person who voted no. But I'm not gonna punish her for what she said or who she excluded, because really, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Y, all of these people, whoever lives there is gonna die up under the smoke. Is gonna be deformed up under the smoke. Is gonna be mentally recessed, retarded, intellectually incapacitated, poisoned by the pollution that comes out of this. These people are not going to come out right. These people are not going to be okay. These people are not going to be able to breathe well. Their organs will not develop well in utero. Something's going to be too big, too small. All kinds of birth defects, all kinds of learning disabilities. It's in these people's future. You can't poison a pregnant woman and expect the baby to come out fine. Now, when they do, eureka, it's a miracle. And that's why, I mean, just conception from conception to birth is a miracle in itself. But this is what you're promising these people. You're promising these people a dead future. You're promising these people before they even live, they die. But they don't care. It's a crisis of morality and a crisis of empathy, because all these people you don't know, their lives are just going to go to shit. And the thing is, poverty. How are you going to move? How are you going to uproot your entire family? People who live in Louisiana, their family networks look like their spouse, their children, their aunts, uncles, cousins, their nieces, nephews, like, extended family, right? It's the South. How are you going to move everybody up north? Now, I say that even though my family did it, because it was no small feat. It was no small feat. To this day, like, my family is in worship of the family members who brought us from the north, from the south to the north, because it'll kill you in the process. All the working, all the sacrifices, all the plane tickets, all the tying up loose ends, of moving every family member. And then on top of that, there's a cemetery I can go to in Louisiana right now where I can tap into the energy of 4 generations. There's a cemetery in Louisiana that I can go to right now where I buried my grandmother, where I have all manner of cousins, uncles, my father. I can call on a 4 generation. It's the same cemetery for all of them on my dad's side. Even if they live somewhere else, they can go and live in Indiana, Missouri, Mississippi, and they end up buried in Alexandria, Louisiana. It's so hard to be far away from that. It's so hard to be away from your ancestral lands, and you just walk away from these roots that you have, relatives who have become literal roots in the ground, where where your DNA is so deep in the earth that it's heard and responded to. And you just uproot all of this and move it somewhere else. This is why when Africans and Caribbeans come to America and they talk about black people are like a tree without roots and you don't know your history, I'm like, you moved away from your literal roots. All your people are over there on that continent and in that island, and you're here. You gotta feel alone. You gotta feel alone. You severed your tree. Like, it got nerves. Like, I'm a 3 hour flight away. I'm a 3.5 hour flight away from a literal family tree. But it's still, even a 3 hour flight, like, it still hurts. There's something intangible about being on the land of your ancestors, something that you can't really explain, something that is ineffable. But there's a power that you have, there's a comfort that you have, there's a knowing that you have, there's a confidence that you have when your DNA is deep in the soil. And things like this force you to sever. They force you to disconnect. I'll play this again. Hopefully, you can hear the lady in the background well this time.
So, roll call vote, I believe we have a no vote for Commissioner Lewis, is that right?
Yes, sir, I vote no.
Okay, Commissioner Kazan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Scavetta.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, it's 4-1, so,
Mr. Chairman,
bipartisan.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, move for 15 minutes.
All right, move for 15 minutes recess and let's approve.
Sold Louisiana out! Sold us out! Dave, this is why everyone on millennial and Gen Z from here is moving away from the state. So protect us.
And these people are laughing at her. It's not funny. I don't know what the joke is. It's not funny.
All right, so, roll call vote,
So I am going to go on ahead and welcome everybody who just got here. I said at the top of the video, this is news to me. This vote happened a couple of days ago. This is news to me. I don't know anything about it. I've done some videos on Memphis, Tennessee, Boxtown, Memphis, Tennessee, where you have Elon Musk's great big colossus, this computer that is 2.5 football fields big, and it powers his Grok. And I'm like, we don't even need your Grok. Like, why didn't you buy into the people who own Chat GPT? We don't need Grok. There's already AI out here. There are already so many things to click into and click onto, and so many AI things that can think for you. Nobody needed Grok. As a matter of fact, people barely use Grok. Every time you get on TikTok or YouTube or something and somebody's working with AI, more often than not, they're talking about Chat GPT. Nobody's even using your Grok, and still you're taking up so many resources in Memphis, Tennessee, the water itself. And this is why the owners of Nestle and different places, like, they're all kind of friends of Mark Zuckerberg, who are buying up water, land with water on it all over America, because they're going to privatize water, you guys. That's what's next, because they're making the earth's water so bad that they're trying to privatize water, making it private, like privately owned. Like, you got a brook, a spring, or something in your hood, and it's just like you can't get water from that because it's owned by Elon Musk, because it's owned by Mark Zuckerberg, because it's owned by the president of Nestle. That is the only man. Now he might be the only one who said it, but I know he's not the only person thinking it. But that owner of Nestle said water shouldn't be a human right. What do you mean water shouldn't be a human right? People are made of like 80 something, 90 something percent water. What do you mean it shouldn't be a human right? There are places it's even illegal to collect rainwater. You can't even just let it rain on you and collect it in a bucket. You will go to jail, because people want you to be a slave. They want you to make them billionaires. They're making ridiculous laws so that you have to yield to them. If somebody owns your water, they own your life. And if you can't afford it, you know what you do? You die. You, your kids, you rot. Whatever, feed the children's commercial in the arms of the angels that you saw in Africa, that's your kid's future now. You want to talk about ghettoizing a land and the people? Do you know what people will be willing to do for water? You think about what people are willing to do for money. You know what people will be willing to do for water? And some old fat white guy owns it. Whatever they're charging you for water on a plane, first class, whatever, $6 to $9 bottle, that's your future in a grocery store. Charging you for water. And you'll pay it. You don't have a choice because it's a necessity. It's turning water in Memphis into sludge. And I mean, it's millions of gallons a day. Multi-million gallons of water a day just to cool Grok off. Not to flush a toilet, not to wash a hand, just to cool Grok off. Because computers get overheated, just to cool Grok off. Hundreds of millions of gallons of water a single day. A single day. 24 hours. And they're making another one and another one and another one, and one here in Memphis and one here in Richland, Louisiana. And for what? For what? And these people think, oh my God, well, my son's an electrician and he's going to be making $170 an hour wiring whatever this new meta approved thing is. It's like, okay, then what are you going to buy with your six figures when there's no water? What are you going to buy? These short-term decisions that have these long-term disastrous consequences. You can't have life where there's AI. And that's why I said before, there are states in America where barely anybody lives. You know how the West Coast has those Cascade Mountains? We have Washington, Oregon, and California, and we're surrounded by Cascade Mountains. That's why the West Coast is often called Cascadia. You get beyond those mountains, there's barely anybody there until you get just past the Dakotas. There's barely anyone there. You could have put the AI there. Hell, we're protected by a mountain range. So if you put them right outside of us, that energy and that air would have to climb a mountain. And we have so much rain. Like, you know how, like, the mountains kind of scrape the clouds and then scrape, just parentheses, scrape. So we get all this rain. And then when you get to the mountains, on the other side of the mountains, it's dry as hell. And that's probably why they won't build there, because it does get dry as hell beyond the mountains, but there's nobody to hurt over there either. So you could irrigate. There's not a whole lot of people to hurt over there, and there's nothing to really hug onto over there. So people could, move a little bit, east so that you can have these big, ugly AI centers. But they're sticking them in the heart of Black communities. I don't care what anybody says. The goal isn't just AI. The goal is to eradicate you. These Elon Musks, these Mark Zuckerberg, they don't care nothing about your life. These people have a crisis of empathy and compassion. They don't have humanity. They don't have humanity. This is why I don't understand people who defend these billionaires like one day they're going to be one. There's something inherently wrong, and hear me out, because I love me some Beyonce. I love me some. There's something inherently wrong with being a billionaire. When the world looks like it does, there's something inherently wrong with being a billionaire. I didn't know they built Grok in Memphis. Yeah, Grok is powered by Colossus, and Colossus is in Boxtown, Memphis, Tennessee. That's how the elitists feel about everybody, that we're leeching off their resources and working for them is the least we can do, saying that like we aren't the reason they can be rich. Right. They're trying to make AI everywhere. I don't know why we need it everywhere. We don't. We don't. But they're making it, I mean, and it's not just about executing Black people. AI needs melanin, you guys. And that's the great big deal that nobody's really talking about but white billionaires. AI needs melanin. Elon Musk joked with Jordan Peterson about creating God. Like basically getting the mathematics together to create a God, an all-seeing, all-knowing, omnipresent God. So currently AI can reach into every database and give you an answer. That's why you can ask AI a question and they have an answer. They can reach through all information and give it to you, but AI cannot remember. AI cannot get its feelings hurt. AI cannot cry out in pain. They cannot tell you how hurtful. AI cannot get sick. AI cannot do any of these things until it gets melanin, right? And this has already been tested. There's already been all kind of melanin put in computer chips. People have tested it, whatever, and that's why melanin is worth more than gold in its weight. Literally, that's not some kind of beatitude that I'm saying. It's literal. When AI is powered by enough melanin, AI can scream, AI can hate, AI can judge, AI can emote. And when it gets enough melanin, that's when AI can truly be alive, independent on its own. It's basically like the breath of life. And who wants to ship and fly in melanin when you just have a garden of it next to you in the form of a cemetery full of black people? I'm saying that it does. It does. It will be truly self-aware once there's enough melanin as a sacrifice to put into these colossal computers. So I'm just gonna go down and see what's next on the
Louisiana, your
subject.
light bill's about to go up, so I need you to tune in. So what's happening this time? It all goes back to those data centers. Remember how at the beginning of this year, which feels like 10 lifetimes ago,
So the data centers are AI. That's what he's talking about. Talking about Grok, talking about Colossus, these data centers, wherever they put them up.
every politician in this state was absolutely over the moon about Meta opening a huge data center in North Louisiana? Here's the part they left out. You will pay for part of it, specifically the power plant. You see, a data center can't just be built off of basic utilities. It needs a huge amount of power, which involves building a dedicated source of power generation. How much power do these things need? A lot of power. 2,600 megawatts, which is more than double what the city of New Orleans used during peak times in one of our hottest summers. So here's where it affects you. The way our utilities are regulated means Entergy has to generate that power. Meta cannot just build the power plant. Entergy generates power, they transmit it, and they sell it. They are a vertically integrated utility monopoly. Not only are data centers driving up our utility costs nationwide, but they're also eating into our fresh water when there's no reason for them to be using that versus treated wastewater. This is such a bad deal that even the oil and gas companies, who are Entergy customers, don't want to pay for it. So to put that in perspective, Meta, making $50 billion a quarter, is getting Entergy, who makes $1 billion a quarter off of you, to go to the PSC and subsidize this power plant off of your utility bill. All this means a bad deal for you and me. Ask me how I know all this. I had to learn way too much about this. So, the PSC was set to debate this in October, but now they're rushing to approve it at the August meeting. Here's what you need to do. First, make a plan to tune in to a Zoom from the Alliance for Affordable Energy this Monday, August 18th at 6:30 p.m. I'll put the link on the screen. They'll go into much greater detail on the situation and tell you about more things that you can do. You can trust the Alliance for Affordable Energy. They've been fighting at the PSC for 40 years, and they're the only group that goes up there for you and me. Second, you should reach out to your public service commissioner and tell them to vote against this power plant because our utility bills are high enough. Here's how to find your commissioner really quick. Go to govote.com or load up the GoVote app. If you're not registered to vote, please register. It only takes like 2 minutes. It's super easy. Then you'll want to look under My Elected Officials and scroll down to find your Public Service Commissioner. Once you know who that is, head to their website, lpsc.la.gov, and send them an email. Now, a lot of them are in Entergy's pocket. Ask me how I know that, too.
Nick, and then we'll move to Jean Paul.
Yes. No.
But they win when we're silent. So let's make our voices heard. Louisiana.
So Richland, Louisiana is the first place I've seen where they, and I could be wrong, But it's the first place I've come to understand where the population is actually majority white. And this is the thing about poor white people. Poor white people are so convinced, if nothing else, that they're better than the N word. And so they don't fight against white supremacy, they don't fight against racism. But Richland, Louisiana, 60% white, 30 something odd percent Black American, and whoever else is in between. The first thought I thought to myself is maybe when they see how this affects white people, they will chill. But I'm just like, no, those are poor white people. And poor white people have never mattered to billionaires. It's the Trump thing all over again, where you get to the poor white person's ego by telling them you're better than Black people. You're not the worst of the worst. You're not going through the worst of the worst, even though you live in such a rural, nasty, resource barren place. You're still better than Black people. And this properly, it's sufficient as a meal for the ego of these people. But it's like, look at you. Look at you getting treated like Boxtown. You're the majority of this town, of this parish. Look at you getting eaten alive by Boxtown. You better not have any children there. You are sentencing your child to disability or death. Good luck. And this is why you should have voted like a Black woman. This is why you should have voted like a Black woman, because look, you're being triangulated. White billionaires are pretending like they have something in common with you. The whole time, your poor white ass has more in common with a Negro than anybody else. The way you live, your history, your demographics, the land you live on, you have more in common with these Negroes, but you keep voting white supremacists. And that doesn't help anybody but those who are supreme in class among you. It doesn't help you as a white person to vote Republican. It doesn't help you with anything. And what we know about these people is that they will chop off their nose to spite their face. I'm like, that's a nose on your face. Well, at least I know a Negro won't be able to breathe through it. And that'll help them sleep at night. And it's like, you can't do this to you. Forget about what you think you're doing to a Negro. You can't do this to you. And it's a lesson we see throughout history that poor whites have never learned. One or two of them will wake up. The rest, they don't learn. They think I'm white like the power structure, so everything's okay. And I'm like, no, you're suffering too. You're not okay. It's just like racism. I mean, patriarchy hurts men. Now it hurts women the most, but it hurts men as well. I'm like, racism hurts white people too. Sure, it hurts Black people the most, but it hurts you too. Y'all are not okay. All that rich soil you have in this food crisis. And they want to tear up the land around you, and you can't do anything because people who look just like you are voting against your best interests. You've been played.
I knew it. They're now saying that you can link your TikTok to your Facebook account, but I knew when they came out saying that Mark Zuckerberg had bought all that land up in Louisiana. You ain't never seen that? Hold on. I thought it was so weird for him to buy 4 million square foot of land in Louisiana so he could build this little AI campus. Y'all think that was so y'all could create dogs with tutus on? I knew it. I knew it'd be all right under our noses, and we just be sitting there sniffing down. Don't smell the shit that they be selling us. Okay, now let me calm down. $10 billion, baby. It was never about no data. It was never about them knowing what color socks you wear. It was always about the money. It was always about the money, young. I knew it. They're now saying that you can link your TikTok to your Facebook account, but I knew when they came out saying that Mark Zuckerberg had bought all that land up in Louisiana. You ain't never seen that? Hold on. I thought it was so weird for him to buy 4 million square foot of land in Louisiana so he could build this little AI campus. Y'all think that was so y'all could create dogs with tutus on?
Last year, Meta announced plans for a $10 billion AI data center in Northeast Louisiana, the company's largest ever facility of this type. State officials have welcomed the project as an economic boon, but there's been sharp criticism over its massive energy needs. And as proposals to power the facility are reaching a key stage, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has announced he wants to eventually scale the facility up to a footprint that would rival the size of Manhattan. But let's back up first. Data centers are physical spaces filled with servers or computers that store, process, and send out digital data. They've been around for decades, but the rapid advancement of AI is changing the landscape and requiring exponentially more power. Meta's Louisiana data center would need at least 2,600 megawatts of power, according to a December 2024 document, more than double the peak amount of energy that New Orleans needed during the city's hottest summer. That number is likely even higher now and will require utility company Entergy to build 3 new natural gas plants to power it. Entergy needs state regulators to approve the new power plants, but details have been heavily redacted. Several environmental groups are pushing back, but 2 of 5 key officials have already pledged their support for the plan, and already construction on the data center itself is underway. Read more about what's next at NOLA.com. Last year, Meta announced plans for
Meta's largest AI data center is going to be built in rural Northeast Louisiana, and it just got some help. And as you can imagine, it didn't go over well. Louisiana state regulators have approved the construction of 3 gas-fired electricity plants to power it. The site's going to be 70 football fields long. It's going to be built on former agricultural land. AI data centers, and they use a lot of water and use huge amounts of electricity. This data center is going to use 3 times the electricity that New Orleans uses in 1 year. 2 of the electricity plants for the data center will be located in Richland Parish and the 3rd in St. Charles Parish. And there is also concern about increased energy bills. It's said that Meta will pay its share of the cost for infrastructure. And on the other side of this, there's hope for job creation and help for the economy. The data center is expected to be completed in 2030. Meta's largest AI data center is going to be built in rural Northeast Louisiana, and it just got some help. And as you can imagine, it didn't go over well. Louisiana state regulators have approved the construction of 3 gas-fired electricity plants to power it. The site's going to be 70 football fields long. It's going to be built on former agricultural land. AI data centers, and they use a lot of water and use huge amounts of electricity. This data center.
Meta's building a $10 billion AI data center in Louisiana, and it will be the largest data center in the world. The new AI campus will occupy 4 million square feet on 2,250 acres. The location is a former mega farm, and this is the first rendering of what it will actually look like. The facility will incorporate cutting-edge technology and supercomputers to help handle the demand for AI. And there's a real need for these AI facilities to be built. The U.S. Commerce Department said there's not enough data centers in the U.S. to meet the rising demand for AI, which is projected to grow 9% each year through the year 2030. But that's why Meta's not the only one doing this. Elon Musk's startup xAI is expanding its supercomputer project in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, this is only a quarter of the size of Meta's mega 4 million square foot facility, but there's a ton of competition. NVIDIA, Dell, and Supermicro Computers have all announced building AI data centers in Memphis, Tennessee to be a part of the AI race. And this is great for these local economies because it forces these corporations to dump money into their communities. For example, Meta pledged $200 million for road and water infrastructure improvements to the local economy. Even though the project isn't scheduled to be finished till 2030, you're about to see a bunch of these AI facilities pop up all over the world. Meta's building a $10 billion AI data center in Louisiana, and it will be the largest data center in the world. The new AI campus will occupy 4 million square feet on 2,250 acres. The location is a former mega farm, and this is the first rendering of what it will actually look like. The facility will incorporate cutting-edge technology and supercomputers to help handle the demand for AI. And there's a real need for these AI facilities to be built. The U.S. Commerce Department.
St. Charles Parish is upstream from New Orleans. It's located along the Mississippi River between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. So again, so much of Louisiana is white, but they keep finding these places where these thick areas of black people. St. Charles, because I'm just now hearing of this. Again, I'm not here to, I can't educate you on what I don't know about. We're doing the research together, we're figuring it out together. St. Charles Parish is between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. It's in a group of parishes known as the river parishes. It consists of 14 small rural communities and has a population of about 53,000 people.
Said there's not enough data centers in the U.S.
Meta planning to build a $10 billion AI data center in Louisiana. The facility is expected to be 4 million square feet, making it the company's largest data center ever. Construction is expected to begin this month and continue through 2030. Perhaps the end of the AI build out really just isn't in sight. And I think this is a reminder of that to us. They're building out this massive data center and saying,
so it's 20 miles. St. Charles Parish, where they're building. So you have Richland, Louisiana, where they are building Mark Zuckerberg's newest AI, the whole Meta thing. So you have Richland, and they're also working on St. Charles Parish, which is in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. So whatever is around this thing is going down. Whatever is around this thing will die. And it's right on the Mississippi River. If it's 20 miles from New Orleans, I'm pretty sure you guys can conceptualize 20 miles. I mean, I used to drive 40 miles to work every morning, which is it's quite a journey, but I'm just saying it ain't nothing but an hour, so half an hour from New Orleans and Baton Rouge, your ancestral lands. You know that song, America the Beautiful, land where my father died, land where the pilgrims cried from. Like literally the land of your ancestors, where they died, where they cried, where they slaved, where they lived, where they fought for their freedom, where they were freed, where they produced, like literally. St. Charles Parish, where the third Meta is popping up, where the third project we've been talking about today is popping up, is between Baton Rouge and Louisiana and New Orleans. So Baton Rouge and New Orleans will die in the process. The way that people die, these things will die. If this is not stopped, these places will die.
6 years down the line, it's going to be done. It gives you a good idea of how long we're going to be talking about just these build outs. Meta planning to build a $10 billion AI data.
That's the thing. Memphis didn't know. The people of Memphis didn't know about it, and I think that's why they're making all this stuff more public now, because the people of Memphis I have a video where they talk about how it was just snuck up on them. They're like, we didn't even get to say no. We weren't even informed, aware. It's just these people went to government officials, and the officials said yes without bringing the issue to the people. So that's why Memphis didn't fight. Memphis was never given a chance to fight. And plus, what do you say to a man who owns the land? Like, how do you tell him what he can? I mean, when you own the land, like Mark Zuckerberg does, you can't just tell somebody no. My thing is, why sell? You can't sell to these people. I mean, it's a nice short-term come up, but the long-term effects, they don't justify the means. I mean, these people are really after They're after New Orleans so bad, bro. They're after the culture. They're after the people. They're after the influence. Like literally, if Hurricane Katrina wasn't enough, because so much of the culture has been wiped away from New Orleans. So much of it has been wiped away. That was after the flooding, people came in and gentrified the hell out of New Orleans, bought up a whole bunch of land, bought up a whole bunch of institutions, and even the face of New Orleans looked different. It looks like New Orleans got a cosmetic doctor and got plastic surgery. It looks so different after Hurricane Katrina, but now it just is going to hell. There's nothing you can do. There there are certain kind of pollutants that live forever that you can't break down. That there's no known way. There's something called dioxane, okay, and it is produced in laundry. This plastic laundry bottles. You know these big Tide, these liquid Tide. You get the bottle of it. There's something about the laundry detergent inside of the plastic Tide container that creates a chemical called dioxane. And dioxane is a forever chemical. That means it don't break down. That means there's nothing you can do about it. I just messaged so people end up with cancer because it gets in their body. It gets in their body. Like you're lucky if when your body is strong enough to just poop this stuff out. You pee and poop and sweat this stuff out, and then it just goes down the toilet, down the drain. You're lucky. The environment's not, but you're lucky. But when you get old enough and you're constantly, you're doing laundry or whatever, this stuff will give you cancer because it won't go anywhere. That's dioxane. That comes out of your Tide, your laundry, whatever your liquid laundry is. Now, of course, there's a solution. The solution is don't use it. The solution is, get you some what is it called? Soap ash and washing powder. Let me type washing powder. Basically, if you're using liquid laundry detergent and you're buying it from a major store chain, just stop. Go back to powder, okay? Go back to washing powder. Go back to soap ash. Soap ash. And brands that have this, I'm going to type in all capital letters, borax. Borax. It's a little tedious, but go ahead and fill your laundry barrel up and with water, turn it on, let it oscillate so you can mix up your washing powder, and then just put that in. It's sufficient and it's natural and it breaks down. Washing powder is like baking soda. It's sodium carbonate. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. Bi just means two. So washing your clothes on baking soda is good as well, but like sodium bicarbonate and sodium carbonate, lightweight, different, but makes all the difference. Sodium carbonate is sufficient to clean all of your laundry, all of it. So you switch to that and you stay away from these liquid, the little blue liquid you want to pour from your Tide bottle, the little green liquid you want to pour from your Gain bottle because that Gain smells so damn good. It's not worth it. It's a forever chemical. And so what these people are doing are putting forever chemicals in your life. These places will die. And my thing is, just based on ethics, if you know that that's the outcome of something, why would you create it? This is why in so many nations, there are things in our cereal. There are things in our shampoo, ingredients that we buy every day in the US. It's illegal in Saudi Arabia. It's illegal in Indonesia. You can't sell this stuff to half of the European Union. And that's why Doritos for us and Doritos in Mexico, we got 11 more ingredients in our Doritos in the US than they have in their Doritos in Mexico. We got 3 more ingredients in our Coca-Cola and all of our soda in America than they do in Mexico. In Mexico, you can drink that soda and you know it's just carbonated water, food coloring, and sugar. Over here, you got stuff that you might not be able to get out of your body for the rest of your life because of billionaires, because it's cheaper, because it's easier to make, because it'll have a longer shelf life, because you won't ever have to throw it out, because you can drink that soda 50 years from now and it'll taste the same, and they want you to be able to do that. Why would you create a forever chemical that is a carcinogen? Why would you? Why wouldn't you be interested in creating something that breaks down, something that is biodegradable over time? All over Seattle, we have cardboard straws, and we hate them. Just so you know, Seattle hates these cardboard straws. But they started making them because there is an island in the ocean of nothing but trash, damn near the size of Mexico. And it's just an island full of trash, just a bunch of trash that has accumulated. And so much of it is plastic, so much of it is straws. So instead of making something that doesn't go away, you make something that does. And these days, what we do with the plastic is we make plastic clothing. A lot of this fast fashion, a lot of this fashion Nova stuff. And you wouldn't think so because, hey, now it's a shirt. Now it's a bra. Now it's a pair of jeans. And they're made out of plastic. So many of these polyester, they're made out of plastic. Your clothing was somebody's recycled water bottle. And now you're wearing it in the form of a bra, because it was processed down to its lowest common denominator. But do you really want to wear plastic? Because the answer is no. You want a pair of jeans for, $20 because they're cute and they're cheap and they're affordable and they fit. But you'd rather be wearing cotton. You'd rather be wearing wool. You'd rather be wearing linen, silk, something that is natural, something that is healthy towards your body. And you wonder why these clothes are killing people. Girls popping up with breast cancer left and right. I lost three girls that I knew that went to my church. They all passed away in their 30s from breast cancer. These bras are made of plastic. Oh, it's so soft. Oh, it's so supportive. It's so cute. It's plastic. But for the love of money, we're creating things that don't break down, that are not biodegradable, that are forever chemicals that harm us. And sometimes recycling is not enough. I'm so sorry. Sometimes recycling is not enough. Things need to be composted. Things need to break all the way down. What would make you create something whose byproduct is a forever chemical and a forever carcinogen? So 1,000 years later, I can dig up where you buried this stuff and there's still dioxane. What would make you do that? What in your heart and in your soul and in your mind would make you okay with that? What kind of dollar sign? How dead in the heart do you have to be? I mean, this is why I don't know. Maybe people not having a soul needs to be revisited. I remember, I think it was the Catholic Church arguing about whether or not women had a soul. And I'm just like, maybe they were onto something. Not necessarily gender wise, but some of these billionaires, there's no way you can have a soul. You have to just be a machine that lives and dies. You have to just be a biodegradable machine, because what in your conscience allows you to do this? It's like people have all kind of complications that they need to go to the hospital for. And when you find out, what's causing the cancer, it was in your daily coffee. You find out what was giving you cancer and it was in your bra. It was in your jeans. It was in your swim cap, and your daughter spent all that time in the pool. Some kind of byproduct of the swim cap leaking into her scalp whenever the swim cap and the chlorine combine. What would make you do that? What would make you run a test on something like that and sell it anyway? I don't understand. These are crimes against humanity, you guys.
A center in Louisiana. The facility is expected to be 4 million square feet, making it the company's largest data center ever. Construction is expected to begin this month and continue through 2030. Perhaps the end of the AI build out really just isn't in sight. And I think this is a reminder of that to us. They're building out this massive data center and saying 6 years down the line, it's going to be done. It gives you a good idea of how long we're going to be talking about just these build outs. Meta planning to build a $10 billion AI data center in Louisiana. The facility is expected to be 4 million.
Louisiana is defined by exploitation, and the next wave is here: data centers. Over the next couple of minutes, we'll go on a journey connecting our past to our present and talk about what could potentially be in our future. If you're watching this on Instagram, I had to split it into a couple different pieces, so this is part one. In Louisiana, we're no stranger to companies, people, and even acts of nature that seem to try to rob us of everything we have to fight so very hard to get. We are extracted from, and we, the people, pay the price. In our multi-hundred-year history, it's important to understand that exploitation was here from the start. We can think of it as occurring through a few different cycles. The first cycle was colonization, taking land from native peoples who existed here long before Europeans ever arrived. The second cycle was slavery, Reconstruction, and Jim Crow, which still exists in our systems to this very day. The third wave was industrialization, oil, gas, and petrochemical companies extracting our natural resources for pennies on the dollar. Ever heard of Cancer Alley? It's a stretch of land between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, sometimes referred to as a sacrifice zone, a place where laws are virtually non-existent for the petrochemical companies. A place where the government has more or less given up on trying to stop those companies from polluting the land, the air, and the water, leaving those who live there to be sacrificed to the effects. The Norco facility, which is based in Cancer Alley, was built on a former cotton plantation. These industrial sites are quite literally built on the bones of enslaved people. That third wave really felt like it couldn't be topped. These companies came into our communities. They paid very little taxes. They created very little opportunity long term, and they exploited our natural resources while doing so, enriching themselves while our state grew poorer and more polluted with each passing day. If you've never seen the video Why Louisiana Stays Poor, you must. The fourth wave of exploitation is now here, but it looks a little bit different than the other ones. That brings us back to data centers. Meta is building one of the largest data centers on the planet in North Louisiana near Monroe. What's being pitched as an economic gift to a poor rural area is not only going to hurt that community, but the impacts are going to be felt throughout the whole state. So why are we here? Why am I making this video? I believe that there's always room for hope, but in order to build a better future, first we have to build understanding. Data centers are a Trojan horse, dressed up as opportunity while hiding something much darker. Let's start with your wallet. Has your light bill gone up? And I'm not just talking when it got hot this summer. I mean over the last couple of years. After Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, natural gas prices spiked. This caused bills to rise due to Entergy's reliance on natural gas for the power generation coming out of its power plants, and led to some of you meeting me for the very first time. You also might have noticed, though, that bills haven't really gone down to what they were before all of that. The other factor fueling your higher bills? AI. In order for AI like ChatGPT to function, huge data centers have to be built. They consume a huge amount of power, requiring their own dedicated power plants. The one being built in North Louisiana is expected to use 2,600 megawatts, which is more than double what the city of New Orleans used at peak demand in one of our hottest summers. Not only do they use a lot of power, but they also need water to operate. When the computers in these data centers run, which they do 24/7, they put off a lot of heat, and they have to keep them cool. Central air is not enough. They have to run water through the data center constantly, sort of like the liquid cooling in a gaming computer. in order to keep temperatures down. So you might be thinking, okay, the data center has a huge power and water bill, but how does that affect me? Here's what happens in the communities that get data centers. A middle of the road data center can use as much water every day as 1,000 households. A large data center like the one that's being built in North Louisiana can use as much as 5 million gallons of water a day. That's like a town of 50,000 people. And that is just the water. The gas-fired generators and power plants that power these facilities, they send toxins into the air constantly, harming air, land, water, and people. And the companies behind it all, they get to do it for a steal. Listen to this from an AP article on an Oregon data center. Last year, AWS, which is owned by Amazon, paid roughly $34 million in property taxes and fees stipulated in the agreements after receiving a $66 million tax break. The company also paid out $10 million in 2 one-time payments to a community development fund and spent another $1.7 million in charitable
You guys, I'm
donations in
gonna
the
go.
community
This is
in 2023. Understand,
I'm gonna keep watching this on my own. This is making me just a little bit dizzy. I am going to get out of here and try to rewatch on my own. Again, we were educating ourselves here. I'm not the teacher here. We were looking up the information together, searching through the research and what people have to say about this approved meta center that belongs to Mark Zuckerberg being built in what we now know as Cancer Alley. I kept saying St. Charles Parish is between Baton Rouge and Louisiana where they're building. And it's about 20 miles long, but what they're calling that area between Baton Rouge and New Orleans is Cancer Alley. The natives of the land are calling it Cancer Alley because anybody who lives there is gonna get cancer. I mean, if you're a Black American doing your genealogy and trying to trace your ancestors, just going near their graves can give you cancer. Because this is where this stuff is being built. He mentioned Louisiana as the land of exploitation because the first thing they exploited there was us. And then on top of our dead bodies, exploiting the resources to build AI. Again, this is turning my stomach. I feel sick. I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and comment.